Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So we are talking about the economic abuse, and I'm explaining that in this case, a spouse is being found controlling the partner's source of income. In some home, you see that maybe a man and a woman, they are working, but at the end of the day, the man may tell the wife that you have to submit your salary to me. So all these are economic abuse. Having talked about the forms of domestic abuse, I want us to look at the causes of domestic violence. What causes domestic violence? One, we have alcohol. Yes, when someone is the influence of alcohol, yes, there is a very high tendency that such person will commit domestic violence. A sense of entitlement, when we feel that, yes, we are entitled to this, we are entitled to that, it can cause domestic violence. Lack of empathy. You know, the word I am sorry is very simple and killed a lot of things, but most of the times we find it difficult to say sorry. We fail to show empathy to one another, and it causes domestic violence. And we have gender discrimination, when one person is feeling inferior to another, it makes the other one feel inferior, and this can cause domestic violence. Then we look at the sexual abuse. It is a pervasive violation of personal boundaries and human dignity, affecting individuals worldwide. This abuse encompasses a range of coercive behaviors, from physical assault like forced intercourse to non-physical acts such as harassment and exploitation. About 41% women and 26% of men experience contact sexual violence by an intimate partner during the lifetime. What are the impacts of domestic and sexual violence? Victims of domestic and sexual violence endures profound and lasting impacts. These include psychological scars like depression, anxiety, health, physical health challenges like STDIs, that is sexually transmitted infections, and social consequences like damaged relationship and isolation. Those are the impacts of domestic and sexual abuse. Quickly, let's look at the gender-based related law. Is there laws concerning abuse in our society? Yes. Number one, we have a Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, VAPPA 2015. They tackles all forms of violence against persons in private and public life, giving maximum protection for victims. Secondly, the Child's Rights 2003 Act. This law protects children from violence, exploitation, and abuse. What are then the issues with the law? Family dynamics and the culture of silence make it difficult for the law to be applied. When people are being abused sexually or in the domestic violence and they could not speak up, there is no way the law can be applied. It is when they speak up that the law can be applied. Then we have religious and customary influence also affect the adoption of the laws in some states. Let's take, for instance, in our side here, let's use a female as an example who are not up to 18 years, and she want to get married. You know, the society go against that the person is a minor. But in northern states, we can see that happening. So religious and customary influences can affect the adoption of the law. These are the issues with the law. Then what is government doing?
Okay, yeah, Mr. Joseph.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Joseph, hold on. Let me interrupt you. Looks to me as if you are spilling into Precious' presentation because she's going to deal with the legal framework, the three. Otherwise, we're supposed to let us into the concept of domestic violence and sexual abuse so that it will now prepare grounds for her to step in so that we could discuss at the end. So I think you should try to place limits so that you don't go and discuss her topics entirely.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, ma'am. So we're talking about the initiative from government. They have establishment of the National Sexual Assault Referral Center, which they provide medical legal support to survivors of sexual violence. Conclusively, domestic and sexual violence demands collective action to raise awareness, provide support, and prevent future incidents by fostering a culture of respect, empathy, accountability. We can support survivors of their journey towards healing and create safer communities for all. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Joseph. I wouldn't want us to open discussion on this now. So members of the class, take notes because
We barely hear you, ma.
Discussion is going to flow from here. So I would like us to have everything together. So when we are discussing, we have a robust discussion. Hear me now?
Yes, ma. I can hear you now.
Is anybody hearing me?
Yes, ma.
Yes, ma. Yes, ma. I can hear you now.
Okay. All right. So I said that. Okay. So I said that I wouldn't open the floor for discussion of this topic now because Precious discussion is going to flow from Joseph's zone. So we want to take Precious presentation. So we now marry these two topics and discuss them. So whatever your observations are from Joseph's presentation, just write them, pen them down. When Precious is done with her own, I want us to really discuss this topic because it's one of the prevalent issues that is affecting the society around us. So we should be able to understand the trends, the patterns, and make our own input. So pen down your observations and wait when Precious is done with her the presentation. Then we discuss the two. So I think Precious, you can step in now.
All right, ma. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I would like to share my screen. Although please, can we all see my screen?
Yes, it's coming up.
Okay, thank you. So the topic of discussion is this. My own topic of assignment was discuss the legal framework for combating domestic violence and sexual abuse in Nigeria. In introduction, we already heard what Mr. Joseph said about violence and sexual abuse, so I don't really need to say much about that. So for sake of time, I picked just one of the legal framework, which is the VAPP. That is the Violence Against Person Prohibition Act 2015, which is also called the VAPP Act, which was introduced to close legal gaps and protect all Nigerians. I picked this framework because it's all-encompassing. It covers both domestic violence and sexual abuse. So in definition, a federal law which was enacted in 2015 to address all forms of violence against persons, both in private and in their public life. It replaces outdated colonial laws on violence. I'm sure we remember what colonial laws are. We treated that in 717. And going, especially around domestic and gender-based violence. So the scope is it protects both men, women, and children. Everybody is inclusive in the VAPP rights law. So it applies, so far it was initially enacted in the FCT, but all other states can adopt that. And from research, I discovered that not all states have even adopted it. It's just about 30 states out of the 36 states has adopted this law. So the key offenses criminalized by this law, that's what the law fights against. Domestic violence and sexual violence is addressed under this law. Physical violence, I'm sure Mr. Joseph had already given us a preview of what domestic violence is. So I don't really need to talk much on this for sake of time, if you'd permit me, please. I think one thing he didn't mention was harmful traditional practices, such as the female genital mutilation. It's covered by this law also, and widowhood practices. I think those are the two things I didn't hear him mention when talking about it. So, victim protection provisions from this law. Protection orders. Courts can issue orders to stop abuse or remove abusers from the home. That's, I think, one of the things we should also look into is providing rehabilitation centers for people that go through this domestic violence or sexual abuse. Because if you're asking for people to be removed from such environment, where can they go to? And if you're removing the abusers, where are you sending the abusers to? So I'm just bringing that in context to explain this point. Protection order. The court can issue the stop of those abuse, that's to remove the abusers from the home. The compensation for the victims. Court may award financial compensation for the victims that go through these abuses. Medical and psychosocial or psychological support. Victim can access care and counseling. For instance, in my line of work, we come across victims of rape a lot, especially underage. And sometimes it messes with their mind. They start getting withdrawn and then they feel left out sometimes and all that. So they need psychological support, psychosocial support to help their minds realign with what is currently going on in society and for them to be included by themselves into the society. We have anonymous reporting. This protects the identity of the survivors. This helps to reduce stigmatization so that the person is not looked down upon in society. Oh, I see this one that went through such so and so cases. It helps to protect those victims that go through such abuses. Legal aid provided for victims who cannot afford legal representation. I think our lecturer spoke on this elaborately yesterday. I think I remember her mentioning arbitrary, those that are into the arbitrary care. You must not be a lawyer to be able to handle such cases. There are certain cases that those ones can handle anyway. But I think just to bring us back to what was mentioned yesterday, implementation challenges. Now, limited adoption by states. Like I mentioned, just about 30 states has adopted this law. And I think it's a very good law because it covers almost every aspect of abuse. So I encourage that every state should adopt it because it's all encompassing. Weak enforcement, not just the police in this case now, but I use them as an example. Even us as individuals, we may not be properly trained or have the ability to take such cases seriously. For instance, in the NGO world now, if the leadership can take this initiative and do a training, hands-on training for their staff on such abuses and how to handle it, where to refer, who to call if you cannot handle, then it will help reduce such abuses in society. The next point is cultural barriers. Victims may fear stigma, family pressure, or retaliation. Like I said, if the court orders such people to be removed from that environment or for the abusers to be removed, where are they being removed to? There should be where for the person to feel secure that such things will not happen again. There should be an environment that that person can be moved to reduce such their psychological trauma, if I may say. So this also stigma for that time being, people in that environment may know about the issue, and then this person is feeling stigmatized. So environment and limited shelter and services, especially in rural areas. Exactly. That covers for the shelters, the rehabilitation center I just spoke about. There should be a place that those victims can be moved to so as to help them psychologically to also come back to bring their mindsets back to what is happening in society. Low awareness. Many people, including law enforcement, are unaware of their rights under this law. I think I spoke about that down, so I would leave that for when I get to that point. So progress so far. States like Lagos, Ekiti, Anambra, and Kaduna have domesticated the VAPP Act and are taking active steps in enforcement. Increased awareness through NGOs and media. Yes, this is the point I was talking about the low awareness. We in the NGO line, for instance, now we do a lot of awareness in other aspects. If we can also add this to intimate the public about their rights and how to go about it if there's such cases, I think it will help a lot for adoption of this law into society. Establishment of gender-based violence response teams and family support units in some states. Sometimes you see cases, for instance, as an example of a case we saw, I think last year, it was a rape case of an underage, and then the parents were insisting it's a family case because it was perpetrated by a family member and that they will handle it within the family. But for the sake of the person who went through that abuse, that underage child now, I think there should be places that can take up such cases. If they say it's a domestic case, fine. But there should be also other domestic, if they are scared going to the courts, there should be domestic organizations that could handle such cases for the sake of the child's well-being. I think our lecturer also spoke about this in the course last week, talking about if the case doesn't, the parents are insisting. I think even was it Chidima or Grace raised a point saying there are times when the parent insists that they can handle it domestically, and for the child's sake, for the child's safety, you need to, as in, take it up. There's a way we can push for it, help the parents understand what the child will go through if this case is not handled properly. And then if the abuser is left in such environment, he might continue perpetrating such acts. So increased awareness just to intimate people about such laws and how they can go about it. Establishment of gender-based violence response. Okay, we already spoke about that. Then partnership with civil society organization is kind of like what I just spoke about, increasing awareness with NGOs. The government can partner with NGOs. There are NGOs that are into these case management for rape victims, for abuses, because the government cannot do it alone. We all have a part to play. Like we were told, I think, was it yesterday or so, that we are all enforcers in our own ways. So once cases like this arise, we have a part to play. So we can also partner with NGOs that do this, that are into such cases to be able to handle them. For now, that's all I put together. For want of time, I didn't want to go beyond the 10 minutes we were given. So that's my contribution for the topic. I hope it was explanatory enough. Thank you. Are we still here?
Yes.
I think she was locked out again.
It's well.
Yes, she was locked out again.
Mr. Joseph, can you reach out to her?
Okay, ma. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
She's trying to connect back. While we are waiting for her to reconnect, I feel that thank you so much, Precious, for the presentation. I think Amos can go ahead and present while we still await her to join. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity. I was just asking how I'm going to do this. But I'm here to do it. My topic is challenges in implementation of domestic violence in Nigeria. So first, I want to start with introduction, which I would, although it has already been spoken about, which is domestic violence. It is also called domestic abuse or intimate partner violence, which can be a behavior that frighten, intimidate, terrorize, manipulate, hurt, and humiliate them or wound someone. The implementing laws against domestic violence in Nigeria faces several challenges, and one of them is the legal, cultural, institutional, and social challenges. And under these legal challenges, it is also called legal and legislative challenges. One of them is lack of the adoption of the VATP, meaning Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act in 2015. This law aims to eliminate violence in both public and private life, prohibit all forms of violence against persons, provide protection and remedies for victims, and punish offenders. It also addresses forms of violence, including domestic violence, violence, sexual violence, harmful traditions, practices, and psychological abuse. This act is only practiced only at the federal level, which is the Abuja Federal Capital Territory, and most states have not adopted it fully. Under this law, again, the second one is weak enforcement existing, which I've just spoken about, that most, even the enforcement mechanism, the, sorry, uh, even where laws exist, even some of the states that this law exists, there are weak enforcement mechanisms and limited police accountability to prevent effective action against perpetrators. In one example, I was listening to a program directed Human Rights Radio and Television in Abuja, and someone brought a case like this to talk about, and the people were involved. In fact, the offender had stronger connection even before because this case was reported at the Human Rights Commission, Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, and even before the victim went there, the person has already said the case is dead on arrival. There are poor enforcement mechanisms amongst them. Thirdly, ambiguity and poor legal literacy. Some laws are vaguely worded that are poorly understood by the public and law enforcement officers. These people, some of these laws are not understood by the masses or people to know when to claim their rights. So it needs to be simplified. Secondly, it talks about the cultural and the social barriers. That's the second challenge. Patriarchal norms and gender roles. Patriarchal norms that talk about the male dominance over the female. The disputed patriarchal beliefs uphold male dominance and control over women, which justifies violence as discipline or family matters. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Can go ahead.
Okay. Domestic abuse is frequently normalized or downplayed in some communities, especially when it happens. Some people, they said it's normal thing that happens. If that is, I remember even in my village, some days, those days while I was small, I see people having issues in their homes and then they see it as a normal thing. When a woman is so at peace with the world ban, people see the man as a weak man. Second point under this culture, I talk about the victim silence and stigma, which Mrs. Sophie has already spoken about. Some of the victims are afraid to speak out due to shame and retaliation of being blamed. And many cultures discourage divorce. So some of these people will face to go through this abuse, but because the culture has prohibited that, they will continue facing this trauma. Religious, still under this culture, religious and traditional influences. Religious and traditional leaders sometimes undermine formal legal process by encouraging informal settlement or reconciliation rather than justice. I've seen cases like that, which Mrs. Oke also spoke about. He said there was a case where someone was abused, a minor was abused sexually, and they said legal process will not be taken, which was settled at home. And most of the time, the victim don't get justice. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Someone's system is breaking. If someone's mic is on,
To Ruth, please mute your mic.
Okay, thank you so much. Thirdly, we have the institutional challenges. We undertrain and bias law enforcement. Some people do not really have passion. This thing should be people like, I wasn't related yesterday, but someone did mention that it mustn't be this law enforcement agency. And in our previous class, the one we had last week, our lecturer said something that we are all law enforcement. we can actually enforce. So we are law, we can actually enforce. Like if something is happening around your environment, you can then chip in, and you see that this will result in a bigger something, you can arrest and then hand it over to the police. So some people do not really have passion for some of this work simply because of the maybe the economic aspect of it and the bias in the treatment. They go in, they are not trained, they handle it anyhow without understanding the deep concept of it. Corruption can also lead to perpetrators being released without proper investigation. I said this earlier, where someone offended, harassed someone, and the person had stronger connection. She said the case is dead on arrival, which was taken to so many agencies to be tackled. On in most cases, it was handled improper. It wasn't investigated properly. The second point under this is general challenge. We talk about the inadequate support services. Some of these gender-related some ministries like Ministry of Women Affairs, some of these gender-based related ministry are not fully supported. The availability they often concentrate in urban areas, excluding the rural cities. Some people in fact, there are no places where they can even go and get counsel or even get advice or even know when they should or where they should go when they have such challenges. The focus is always at the urban areas, neglecting the rural victims. Thirdly, a slow judicial process. In fact, this one, a lot of people complain. That is why some people they take laws into their hands when they are encountered with such challenges. A lot of people, when case is taken to court, it takes years. And before some people will even get that justice, what has already happened will happen to them. Some will even die at the process and all of that. Third one, they have the economic and educational constraints, financial dependence. Many victims, especially women, which Mr. Joseph also spoke about it, many victims, especially women, are economically dependent on their abusers, their husbands, some at times. So the fear of consequences of reporting them, that if I do, I may not get support, I may not be given this, I may not be doing that. So they decide to keep it within themselves, going through this trauma. And that is why some of them will go through it. Some will hear that this one died.
Right.
Hello, ma. Hello. Good morning. I cannot hear you. Good morning, ma.
I think our network is still bad. So she's still connected, but the network is bad.
Okay, I was talking about the fourth challenge, which is the economic and education, which the economic, one of the
It's
economic.
fine.
Okay, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Depends on the
I can't hear you, ma'am. Hello. Hello.
I think she's out again.
Should I continue?
You can
Hello. Should
continue
I
and round
continue?
up now. Yeah, continue and round up.
Okay, the first challenge, which I was talking about, the economic and educational constraints, which I said the first point, that the financial dependent, that many victims, especially women, are economically dependent on their abusers, and the fear of consequences of reporting them. that if they do, what the benefit they get from their offenders will not be given to them again. Secondly, the low literate level. In many parts of Nigeria, especially the rural communities, low levels of education limit awareness of legal rights and the danger of domestic violence. Some of these people, they go through this and they know when to claim the rights, like I have said earlier. Then the third one, which is the political will and policy gap. Low political priority. Some of these gender-related ministry and agencies are often underfunded and empowered. The inconsistent policy implementation, even when national or state level framework exists, follow through and monitoring are very poor. They just implement some of these policies and they abandon it without following up. So, in conclusion, the fight against domestic violence in Nigeria cannot be won by laws alone. A holistic, multifactorial approach is needed, one that addresses legal gaps, dismantles harmful cultural norms, empowers victims, and holds perpetrators accountable. Until then, the promise of justice will remain out of reach for many survivors. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I was just coming in, I just logged out. Thank you for the presentation. I think she's still having that network challenge. Maybe let's give like 2 minutes and wait for her if she can join. After that, maybe we'll now have a contribution from other contribution questions from people.
Guhayo.
I think
Tika ina.
she's still not
Zara nige mutu wahala da. Zara nige.
joined yet. I don't
Niga
know
alo
if
luhimi
we can continue. Maybe have observation. Anybody have observation concerning the presentation? I think we can go on. I don't know, Japheth or class, what do we think?
Yes, Mr.
It's
Joseph.
very good. It's very good because Mr. Jackson, because I know he definitely has some.
Good morning, class.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I appreciate all presenters for today. And you have done your best, and it is commendable. I believe there's every need for us to go on discussing these presentations because they are meant for us. She's just as a guide. She's like a research director. So we are the ones doing the research for our good and ourselves. So the last presenter, I want to make some input related to what he has presented. And my inputs will be on the challenges. At a point he was making and his presentation, in the course of making his presentation, it sounds as if these laws, yes, these laws are not known. Yes, they may not be known, but at some certain quarters, they will be known. So some of the challenges associated with implementation of the laws against domestic or domestic violence, or then they presented on the impediments of law implementation of these laws, and I want to dwell on issues of he talked on it, but I want to bring it on a very high note. Issues of poverty. Issues of poverty are equally impediments or hindrance to the implementation of these laws prohibiting gender violence. I made mention of poverty as a result of some persons are aware of the consequences of this law, and they are aware that there are laws fixed against this act, but they go into it for some reasons they know. Like a person who is enlightened and educated and indulging into this act with a minor who is less knowledgeable about what the whole scenario, in the name of he wants to make money, like the persons who are into rituals, like the persons who are into rituals, and it demands you or making sexual intercourse with a minor, or making an abuse of the right of a minor, so as it gives you a fresh lock or whatever. Those persons, is not as if they're ignorant of the laws. They can be active participants of implementation of these laws. But for the fact that their desire to acquire wealth, to get out of their impoverished state of living, they indulge, that beclouds their sense of reasoning, and then they indulge into this. So we may not outrightly say it is lack of awareness is part of it, because some persons are not aware, but some persons are very, very much aware of this, but do it for
Okay,
some.
good morning.
Yes, good
Ma.
morning.
Ma.
Good morning, ma.
I'm so sorry I had to change my location to be able to see if the network can improve. So
Oh.
I guess that the presentations are all done by now.
Yes, ma. We'll finish with the presentation and
Okay, so which of the topics are you discussing?
He is discussing about the challenges against implementing laws. Challenges in implementation of laws against child abuse, domestic violence.
Okay. May have you discussed the issue of domestic violence itself, the legal framework in particular? Has that been discussed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. I think you can just go ahead. I'll make my input at the end. I'm sorry for joining late. So the discussion can continue. I'm with you. I think somebody was on before I interrupted.
Yes, it was
yes,
Mr. Jaffet.
Jaffet, you can go ahead.
Oh, okay, Jeffrey, you can continue. I'm with you. Hello, Jeffet. You can continue with your discussion, or were you done?
I was not over. Welcome, man.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I was making an input related to poverty can be part of the hindrance or impediments to the implementation of domestic laws, the laws against domestic violence. And I was citing an instance that an enlightened person, like we are studying this now, may for reasons of acquiring wealth, somebody could brainwash that person that when you abuse the right of a minor, let's say a female child, who has never had intercourse with anybody, who is regarded as a virgin, you attain some height of wealth. That person is not as if he is not aware that there are prohibition against that, but he's beclouded, his thoughts are beclouded with the belief that when that is done, you amass wealth for himself. So when we present make presentation and make it outrightly that is lack of awareness, I am contributing that some persons will be aware, but their belief system will still push them to go into those things. So awareness is part of it, and then poverty on the other side is part of it. So to contribute further, I want to make an issue of um, an issue of insecurity as part of it. Some of these while in the course of studying gender violence, we come across the issue of gang rape. Some of these acts may be perpetuated by a group of men of the underworld or their syndicate. So when you want to take this thing legally with them, your life is threatened. It's not the interference of family now. Your life will be threatened. And not just you, the life of even the minor who could stand and testify over this will be threatened. And on such issues, some persons, even being on 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 this note, some persons, whether they have the resources, they have access to justice, as they can take it up legally, but they will be afraid. They will resort in the act of resolving it without raising any alarm. So these and others constitute impediments or hindrance to the implementation of domestic laws, uh, uh, laws against domestic violence. That is my contribution.
All right, that's good. Any other person with either contribution or question?
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. One of the hindrance can be as a result of religious beliefs, because sometimes what is obtainable in a particular place, maybe for instance in the north now, where they do not consider like a child that is 12 years, for instance, they consider, based on their religious belief, they consider that person mature, to get married. And then in the other aspects, in the other part of the country, that is regarded as child abuse. So if you want to take that up, you might have to face a lot of issues. And as a result of that, you might just decide to just leave it, because it borders around the person's, maybe the parents' religious belief, even though the person is not really mature to decide in regards to that situation at that time. So that's one of my contribution, ma.
Okay. Yeah. Any other contribution or question? Okay. While we're waiting for others to probably maybe think of what to say, let me appreciate the presenters for doing a quick walk. These topics were just shared out, day before yesterday, and they're able to do a good work. And I want to appreciate Precious for identifying the VAP law. There are actually several other laws that deal with issues of violence, domestic violence, and sexual abuse. Her choice of VAP law is an indication that she really did a good work to identify that law that is so primary in dealing directly with these issues. Of course, the penal code, the criminal code also have a touch. They have a dealing on some of these issues. But then they're coming into place of the VAP Act, which was also domesticated for us that are in Benue State. The law was domesticated. The act was enacted particularly to deal with issues of violence against persons. That's why it is tagged Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. So it deals categorically with specific issues of violence. It touches on physical violence, that is hitting somebody. It talks about psychological abuse. It talks about social abuse. It talks about emotional abuse. It talks about sexual abuse. And it attributes fines and punishments against such violations variously. And it is there in that law that you also realize that even as a husband, you do not have the right to beat your wife. It is an abuse, and it attracts a punishment under that law. So the VAP law, if you really VAP Act or law, as is domesticated in the various states, it becomes law. At the national level is the act. Now that really has dealt with various issues of abuses. And like the contributors have said, I remember clearly, for us that are from Benue State, this act became a child of necessity when one of the young minors was violated. The Ochanya's prominent case in the state, she was violated by somebody whom she was growing under as a guardian. And this person violated her and was trying to, play pranks around it. That was when development, civil society, everybody demonstrated. And I want to let you know that in domesticating this law, there was even resistance. There was resistance from different quarters because even the lawmakers understand the implication of this law. And some of our people, for cultural reasons, like one of the contributors said, even tend to believe in some of these things that are forbidden by law. If you come to some jurisdictions, they believe that it's a normal thing for a husband to beat his wife. They take it as a norm to an extent that even if a girl child who's married is abused, is beaten up by her husband, some cultures believe even if she runs to her parents, the parents will look at it as a normal thing. What's strange? Because this same parent or father lived to beat his own wife or beat this girl's mother, and so has looked upon this as a norm. It's part of the tradition. Nobody seems to necessarily frown at it. What's strange about this? So this law made resistance at various quarters. But I think the Ochanya's case was one of the things that strengthened the resolve of civil society and various, various quarters to demonstrate and insist that this law be domesticated and made a law in the state. And like the presenter said, several states, a number of states have domesticated this law. Now, yes, talking about challenges and hindrances, culture, like Grace said, has a big role. There are some places that when a man beats his wife, I'm talking about the issue of wife particularly because this is the one that is a strange norm that has, some of us that grew up in village settings, we watch these things happen, and up till now in some communities, it's like, what is strange about it? It's taken upon as a right. Once you marry a woman, you have the right to beat her. And the law is saying no. And the culture is insisting. So there's a conflict to a point that this thing, sometimes the woman is ridiculed even by her husband's people, even sometimes by her own people. She's looked upon as a rebel for trying to make a case against such violence. She's stigmatized. She's looked upon as somebody who is seeming to be, a rebel, for trying to enforce her rights. So the cultural angle is, is one of the serious impediments. Now, looking at the issue of sexual abuse, especially cases like rape, another, the issue of culture and environmental factor again comes in. Because for you to prove rape, there are certain indices that have to be measured. Rape is measured. A rape victim has to testify and prove certain things before rape can be established. And if rape is not established, it cannot be punished. Issues of sexual violence, they need to be established. And before they are established, there are certain facts that are considered customarily stigmatizing that need to be spoken of in the open court for these matters to be established. And then sometimes, families are feeling oh, the family name is at stake, our family name, oh, everywhere, you know, our family name will be heard, our family name. So they prefer the matter buried and leave the victim tortured. Psychologically, they leave the victim traumatized. The fear of the stigma on the family name surpasses the, you know, the torture and the psychological brutality that the victim goes through. So these are some of the subtle, apart from the financial aspect, these two acts, one of the major impediments by my own estimation is cultural and environmental factors that come in. The stigmatization on the person of the victim and on the family, and the feeling of the family, the fact that the family name is dragged into the public domain, and everybody seems to be looking at the family as, oh, it is the family of this person. Oh, it is the family of this person. Because by the time a child or a lady is trying to establish rape and we have to bring out certain facts, everybody feel, oh, we are embarrassed by the things that have been said in the open courts or in whatever arena that this matters needs to be told. So I think that for as many of us that are in touch with the society needs an enlightenment. Now, a victim of sexual abuse lives with that torture almost for life. If you have an opportunity to counsel with people who have been victims of sexual violence or domestic violence of some sort, they live in complexes. They live in inferiority within, okay, if you say domestic violence, for example, some of the people that have suffered this live with stigma. They feel inferior everywhere. And some people that have suffered sexual abuse, they are psychologically battered almost for life. So people need to be enlightened. And you know, the inability of the victim to speak up for the fear of the name of the family leaves her to cope and live bottled up with the torture without even having an occasion to express it for life. So it's tormenting, it's torturing. And she has to live with it almost all her life. And it affects even the homes of some of these people. They are not able to speak up. They are not able to express so that they can be counseled, so that they can be, you know, a level of, you know, rehabilitation. They are forced to keep quiet. Don't talk about it. So those are the environmental and societal stigmas that accompany this. So now on the issue of domestic violence, let me also bring in the issue of poverty, because I don't know whether it was during fundamental human rights or one of these courses. I gave a classical example of a case that I witnessed where parents gave their son to live with a relation. And the person who was taking care of this child was offended by his acts, beat the child, hit the child, and the young man fell and hit his head on the floor tiles and went unconscious, was admitted in a hospital facility, and he remained in coma for a length of time. And when the child was brought to the hospital, it was at that time that the relative called the original parents of this child to come and stay with him in the hospital and just went away. The people could not afford the bills. The child was just like that. Until somebody who was visiting the hospital on a humanitarian basis came across this case and was worried that every time she went there, she would see this child remain unconscious, and diagnosis pointed to the fact that the child needed the neurosurgery and the parents could not afford. The person that was living with the child when this incident occurred could not even come. Now, why am I bringing in the issue of poverty? Many parents feel they cannot afford to take care of their children, let the children go and stay with relatives in town. So whatever treatment these children have faced, there's pressure on them to remain there. Because the parents are like, oh, if you come back, we cannot even afford to eat by ourselves. So you that have found an escape route, if you eventually come back, what will become of you and all? So poverty plays a role here, because a normal parent will never prefer his or her own child to go and live with somebody else. Some live with the belief that they cannot take care of these children, so they are better off in the hands of others whom they consider as more capable, even financially and otherwise, to take care of these children. But sometimes these children suffer violence a lot. And the parents are still putting pressure. They're not ready to take them back. So poverty comes in, and a mindset. And I always say that poverty is not just lack of physical resources. Poverty is also an issue of the mind. When the mindset of a man is conditioned in a certain way, even where, you know, naturally, a family conscious person will say, oh, even if I am starving, I rather share the starvation with my children rather than, you know, sell them out. But some people are so poor, even in the mind, that they prefer to donate their own children out. I've had cause to meet a family whose daughter was schooling and, you know, was being violated by men. And this young lady was in secondary school, and the parents felt she should be the ones taking care of the younger ones. So whatever she was going through in the hands of men, they still felt that she should be responsible enough to support her. So poverty has a big role, and mindset. Sometimes we need to help people come out of certain mindsets. That you have a responsibility as a parent to look after your children, not the older siblings who are not yet even capable financially. So I think this thing is so key, and looking at the laws, the legal framework is with us here. We don't need to go far. And it's so key that we should need to be knowledgeable about these things so that it will help us enlighten the society around us. The issue of beating our wives, the issue of violating people, abusing people sexually, abusing them in several other ways. It's so important that we need to, you know, I think this enlightenment must have helped a lot. So that some people ordinarily did not even know. Because up to now, some people who are not conversant with the VAP law, if you tell them that a husband beating his wife is domestic violence, they say, wow, it's my wife. I paid her bride price. I do this, I do that. Now again, if the woman wants to get up and enforce the law, it does not matter if the man married her. He will face the wrath of the law and all of that. So it's important that these issues come up and we know. We don't just study them. We don't just study domestic violence. We don't just study sexual abuse and all. We should know that there are legal frameworks and legal structures in place to tackle people who violate some of these things, so that it will both serve as a deterrent and also as an awareness to people who do not know that some of these things exist. So I don't know, was there any other person hanging with a contribution or a question, because our time is trying to run out? Is the class with me?
Yes, we are with you, ma'am.
Okay, so is there any other person with a contribution, a question that was hanging before I came in?
No, ma'am.
Yes.
No, that's not I have none.
Okay, is it Joseph that's speaking?
Joseph said he doesn't have a question. I also say I don't have a question.
Okay, all right, okay, that's fine. So I didn't quite follow Amos' presentation, but like I said earlier, we are going to wrap up the entire lecture on Friday. So you can submit your presentation on the page. I saw Precious own, and I saw Precious presentation submitted. I know Grace will submit hers tomorrow. So we'll be able to, okay, I've seen then the Amos own. So yeah. Okay, no.
I haven't submitted mine, but I will do that before.
Yes, you haven't. Okay, so when you submit yours, I will also take a look, and Joseph's own submission too. I'll take a look at it so that even if I don't make the input today, I will on when we are wrapping up on Friday. So before we close for the day, we will look at the people that are going to present tomorrow. Our class was open today early, so just that I happened to be in a location where network was not good that morning. But hopefully, as we are trying to wrap up, I'll try to make efforts to strategize. So how were the topics shared out? Please, Joseph, I gave you that assignment. Let me know who is presenting on what before we leave the class today.
Sorry, I didn't get you, man.
I said, let me know who is supposed to present on what tomorrow. I saw the list of people that are presenting tomorrow, but I don't know who is presenting on which topic.
Let me quickly check, man.
Okay.
Hello, man.
Yes.
Chidima is presenting tomorrow, and the topic is to discuss the challenges of implementing laws against sexual abuse in Nigeria. Bashir, the topic is what is the impact of corruption on social standards in Nigeria? Then Japheth is discussing anti-corruption law in Nigeria. Ogbu Samson, the topic is what is the role of social media in promoting social development in Nigeria? Then Elizabeth, presenting on how has the technology promoted social development in Nigeria and propose the way forward.
Okay. Now, from what I'm hearing you, okay, you are still on. Yes.
Okay. One person is left out, and we said maybe you see how you can give her a question to Ruth.
Now, this person that is presenting on the law, what it's not a repetition. Can you call out the first two people on your list? Let me hear again.
The first two people here are Chidima and Bashir.
Chidima, what is Chidima presenting on?
Discuss the challenges of implementing laws against sexual abuse in Nigeria.
Is that not part of what Precious did? Precious, didn't you cover the challenges?
I think
I did, Mao. I did.
Yes, Precious did, because the legal framework and the challenges were covered. And then then the Amos, what did you present on? Is it not on the issue of corruption?
Yes,
No.
the challenges.
No, then they
Implementation of
presented on.
Then
the
what did you
challenges.
present on?
Yeah, I presented on the challenges in
Dan,
challenges against laws. I presented on the challenges in implementing laws against domestic violence.
Oh, wow. How did we distribute this? Okay.
I think from the group, Mr. Dende chose that particular topic. He chose it first because going through
Okay.
the responses when you said we should pick our choice of question, I noticed it that particular one.
So who is presenting on the impact of corruption on social standard? Mr. Joseph, who is presenting on the impact of corruption on social standard in Nigeria?
It's me, ma. It's Bashir.
It's Bashir.
Okay, Bashir.
Mommy, I've not had topic, Stella.
Okay, that is who?
Stella, I've not had topic.
Okay. All right, I think I'll send a topic to you after here. Is there any other person apart from Stella that has not got a topic?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Stella Ohena. I've not
Okay,
gotten
Stella
Ohena.
and
Okay.
Ruth.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ohinadosu, have you got a topic?
No, ma.
Okay, Ohinadosu has not got, Abito, Stella has not got, Ruth Bana has not got, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so I think I'll send topics to you on the class platform. So
I think some of the
Okay, ma'am.
topics were not. Man, I think some of the topics were not like topic 5, I think, and some like that from the ones you sent to us. Some have not been selected.
Some are what?
Have not been picked. Like some of the topics you sent to us that they have not been.
I think they are the ones
Like,
they made 2-2 for Nguni and this person Precious, and the first presenter for today. 2 of them has 2 topics.
Yes, I think the confusion I had from the beginning, I thought that we couldn't even go around the topics. Remember when I sent the topics out day before yesterday, I asked people to pick. They couldn't pick all. So they couldn't pick all. So I had to merge so that we have a flow. We won't be doing disjointed presentations. So it was after then that people started coming up. I've not had a topic. I've not had a topic. So we are starting with the impact of corruption on social standard in Nigeria tomorrow. So the person, that is Bashir, right?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Now, you have to get ready and be in class early because we want to do a flow. We are not, these things are arranged so that they can be a flow. Now, the person discussing anti-corruption law in Nigeria is going to be the next to present. Who is that?
Toga Jafet.
That's Japheth, okay.
Yes.
Now, the role of social media. Who is taking that? Who is taking the role of social media in promoting social development in Nigeria?
it's a good something.
Okay, Ogbu.
Something.
Okay, it appears he's not in class right now. Please let him be told he's going to be number 3 to present tomorrow. So how has technology promoted social development in Nigeria? Who is taking that?
The current governor, Mr.
It's
Stephen.
Elizabeth.
Okay, Elizabeth, was she in class today at all?
Yes, she was at the beginning.
Okay, she was at the beginning. So is she the same person proposing the way forward? Okay, Obu Samson is back.
No,
I can see.
Hello, ma.
Yes, I can hear you.
The person talking about the way forward is Patricia Nguemo.
Has she been attending
I
class?
think that question, the question was jointed. The way forward was part of it.
No problem. We can spread it. We can spread it. Now that we have more people, we can spread it. So has Patricia been attending this class?
Yes. On 2 instances, I'll be yesterday.
Was she in class today?
No.
She joined yesterday.
No.
So please, we are very conscious about what we are doing. So somebody should help me reach out to her. We want a flow. So later, come in to make her presentation. Meanwhile, Grace is coming back tomorrow. So Grace, you are going to be the first presenter before Bashir, because your topic comes top, since you couldn't figure it out very well. So our tomorrow's presentation, I'll do my best to get a good location so that we have become more in number, so that we, be prepared 10 to 15 minutes. We do it very sharply. And once you are done, just submit your document, because the problem now is that once you go, sometimes it's very difficult. You may just go and forget. So in order to avoid that, once you are done presenting, be ready to just upload your presentation on the WhatsApp group so that we study it. Okay, I can see Chidima's hand up.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes.
Please, I want to ask a question. Since
Yes.
my own topic that I picked, or what I picked, has been dealt on, what becomes of me?
Okay, the topic you picked at first was the issue of the challenges of implementation, right?
Yes, that's the one I picked.
Yes, so I think you will have another topic. I'll give you another topic which we present on Friday. I just want to have this now that we are spilling over to Friday. Friday presentations should be fewer, but it's necessary, because these presentations are part of your assessment, and it's also helping to add a lot of knowledge to what we are doing. I'm learning from it. We are also learning from each other. So just be patient, and the next 10 to 20 minutes that we assign topics to the remaining number of people. But just pay attention and listen to how the presentation tomorrow is going to be like. Grace is going to come in to present first, then followed by Bashir, who is going to present. Grace is going back to the concept of social justice, equality, then the challenges and opportunities. She's going to marry the two. Why I can't give it to another person now is it may be so short for another person to start preparing the other angle. So all the people that have not got topics now will present on Friday, the first 1 hour. And I'll use the remaining hour to round up the lecture. So she's going to do that. She will be number 1. So number two will be Bashir. He will present the impact of corruption on social standard in Nigeria. Then Japhet is going to present on the anti-corruption role of social media in promoting social development in Nigeria. Elizabeth will present on technology, how it has promoted social development in Nigeria. Then Patricia, please, let Patricia not take excuse. We don't have all the time, please. Let her be prepared. She's going to be the last to present for tomorrow so that we can have some time to discuss. Give another topic to Chidima. We give a topic to Stella Ufan. We give another topic to Ruth too, and then Ohina Stella. So the people that are pending now, they are 1, 2, 3, 4. So if there's anybody who is either on this platform or if in this course who is not here, please reach out to Joseph and identify yourself to him so that he will tell me all the topics we are sharing. The sharing of topics is going to end today so that you prepare. We don't want to be taken unaware. And I know these days it's so easy to prepare document. You just go to AI and tell AI to tell you everything, but it's good for you to look around and also sit back and read and have a proper picture of what is before you, so that when you are presenting or you are presented and somebody is to ask you to do a proper preparation. So that's how the presentation is going to flow from tomorrow to Friday when we will be rounding up. Any question before we close the class?
Okay, sorry. Some of the people you mentioned that they'll be presenting tomorrow and the ones will be giving more topics to, I didn't hear two people's name, and I think they've been coming to class. Mrs. Florence and Sophie. I didn't hear their name. I don't know whether they are not putting the elective or so.
Well, the challenge is that I asked Joseph to create this group and all the people taking the class should be added. So if they've not been added up till now, I don't know how. This is a virtual class. So when there is no means of identification, even when I asked the department, registrations were not yet done. So names of people that registered for this course were not even given to me. So that's really up to the people. It's not a physical class where I can count the people that are physically present. It's an online class. Yes, we have attendance here. I can see the people that are in the class. But then if for any reason somebody is not in now, let the person reach out to Joseph, whom I mandated to create a group, and I'm reaching out to him as a contact person for the course. I think that's just and that's why when I was making an announcement, I said, if there's anybody who is in for this course, who is neither here now or has not been assigned a course, reach out to Joseph Odu so that he will relate that to me either in a private chat or on the group chat, and I will assign a topic to such a person so that we now know. Because sometimes some people are in the class, but they are observers. You need to make up your mind. It's an elective course. It's not it's not a core course. So being an elective, some people can just be around as observers and they are just enjoying the class. It's not as though they are necessarily registered or interested in being registered for the class. So we can't speak for them. We can't also impose anything on them. But if there's anybody who has not gotten, like people are coming up to indicate, I've not got a topic, I've not got this, it will be easier for us to know who is left behind and give such a person an opportunity. All right, I think at this point we have to close for the day. So I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, ma.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
All right, bye, ma.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can we end the meeting?
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Joseph.